What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and Dave Chappelle is handling the backlash to his Netflix special, The Closer, in exactly the way you'd imagine someone like Dave Chappelle is handling it. He is laughing at the people who are trying to get him canceled. He's looking at the mainstream media who are writing hit pieces, who are trying to get this pulled, and he's saying, go F yourselves. I don't care what you have to say. This isn't the real world. Twitter isn't real life. If this is what getting canceled is like, then bring it on. He is doing exactly all the things he should be to stand up to these losers. And the lunatics that he was criticizing, the group that continues to want to try to cancel him, is proving him right. All of the things he said about their vitriol, about what they try to do by trying to destroy people's lives, is now playing out right in front of our eyes on social media, in the mainstream media. And it's resulted in Netflix kind of having to take a hard stance. And what have they done? They are firmly standing with Dave Chappelle. And they say there is no way in hell we're going to take this special down. And it's resulted in some people getting suspended. Now, the media is going to play this a certain way. The media might not give you all the details, but I want to provide full context to this. Netflix suspends trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle special. Internally, trans employees and allies are asking executives tough questions about the line between commentary and hate. Netflix has suspended a trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's comedy special, The Closer. In the stand-up set, which was released on October 5th, Chappelle doubles down on his jokes about LGBTQ groups. Emphasis on jokes. Yes, he doubled down on his comedy routine, which includes jokes, which includes poking fun at a wide variety of people, from the black community to conservatives to gay people to trans people to literally anyone and everyone, because it's stand-up comedy and that is what you do. The next day, Netflix software engineer Tara Field tweeted about Chappelle, writing that the comedian, quote, attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness. And we can go to this tweet, and it got a lot of interaction because, as Dave Chappelle has said, Twitter is not real life. This is Tara Field here. That is Tara Field right there. I work at Netflix. Yesterday, we launched another Chappelle special where he attacks the trans community and the very validity of transness, all while trying to pit us against other marginalized groups. You're going to hear a lot of talk about offense. We are not offended. Now, yeah, you are. You are definitively offended. You are completely offended. That's why you want this Netflix special pulled down, because you are offended. She goes down this list and says, we're not upset about anything. We just think it's violence. We think it's violence towards the trans community. And she lists all these different trans people who have died as if to say that it's some sort of attack on trans people just for being trans. And, I looked up a couple of these people, right? I looked up Dominique Jackson. I looked up Dominique Jackson right here. Transgender woman who died in Jackson shooting is remembered for learning to accept herself. Dominique Jackson was looking forward to growing into a full potential, opening her own makeup and hair salon, being part of a loving family. All of ththese things. Talks about how her family's mourning her. Talks about how she got brutally murdered in Jackson, Mississippi, where there's been like 25 murders already in the first 2 months of the year. Nothing about being murdered because she was trans. Isn't that interesting? What about another one? Can we find, let's see, this person, Miss Braxton, Alexis Braxton. Police in South Florida are searching for clues of what they say are a violent and vicious death of a 45-year-old transgender woman. And when you go all through this, it's a lot of people talking about how sad it is that she's living her life and that her life was ended, but nothing about the motivations behind why this person was murdered. But what they are trying to do, what this person is trying to do, is equate any violence against trans people to because of hatred and bigotry, and trying to connect that to Dave Chappelle. That's what this individual is trying to do. The tweet thread went viral, quickly spiraling into a conversation about free speech and cancel culture. Netflix then suspended Field along with 2 other employees for trying to attend a director-level meeting they weren't invited to. Another trans employee is quitting the company over how the special and Field's comments were handled. Now, it's very important because they buried the lead a little bit, didn't they? Netflix then suspended Field along with 2 other employees for trying to attend a director-level meeting they weren't invited to. That's funny because this headline just says They suspend the trans employee who tweeted about Dave Chappelle's special. Even in the subheadline, you don't mention the fact that this person basically tried to barge into a meeting of Netflix executives where they did not belong there because they didn't have the proper clearance. They weren't supposed to be at that meeting. They came there and they made a fuss. They were trying to protest something. That's why they ended up getting suspended. But it's buried completely in this story. At least Variety put it in the headline. Netflix suspends 3 employees, including a trans person who spoke out against Dave Chappelle for crashing the leadership meeting. And of course, we remember this person, Dear White People showrunner, talks Netflix boycott over Dave Chappelle's special. It's not about feelings. That is definitively what it is about. You can say, we're not offended by this. We just want him canceled. We're not offended by this. We just want it pulled down from Netflix because it's harmful. Yeah, you are offended. It is about your feelings. And so many of the things that Dave Chappelle said in this special very much are ringing true about how certain people within this community get so offended over everything and will do everything in their power in order to cancel, in order to bring down, in order to spread lies and malicious garbage about someone, in order to get them canceled. And what does canceled mean? Canceled means they don't want you to ever work again. Cancel means they want to pull your work, they want to pull all your prior work, they want to make sure you don't get any work ever again. And when you take that out to its conclusion, yeah, someone like Dave Chappelle would be perfectly fine. He's got enough money. We all know that. But this is coming down to regular people. When this happens to regular people and they get this essentially scarlet letter put on them, they get called a transphobe, they get called a bigot. And the goal of that is to not let that person eat, to not let that person be able to provide for their family, to have that person and their family die in a gutter over a word that you didn't like, over an opinion that maybe you didn't like, and your entire little community gets together to try to destroy someone's life. But Netflix is standing by Dave Chappelle. This is a statement from CEO Ted Sarandos from Netflix. It never feels good when people are hurting, especially our colleagues. You should also be aware that some talent may join third parties in asking us to remove the show in the coming days, which we are not going to do. Netflix, listen, we talked a lot about Netflix. We had a lot of problem with Netflix for the decision they made regarding cuties, which I still think is personally disgusting because that goes beyond offensive language and offensive words. That's about treatment of children, and that is disgusting. However, Netflix is now standing by Dave Chappelle and saying that there's going to be some people in Netflix that try to get this canceled. There's going to be people outside Netflix that try to get this canceled. It's not going to happen. It's going to remain on the air. So, shout out to them for standing up for that, I suppose, even with all the garbage that we've seen from this company beforehand. Here is the full statement where he's essentially trying to say, we are sorry if your feelings are hurt. We don't endorse hate. We don't endorse anything like that. However, we don't feel like this special is doing that, and it's going to stay on the platform. And it doesn't matter how much the mainstream media bitches and whines. It doesn't matter how much these freaks, right? These freaks on Twitter, try to get trending. They're going to try to go crash these places. They're going to try to pretend like they're the victims in all of this. But it doesn't matter. Dave Chappelle's not going to apologize. Dave Chappelle is only going to double and triple and quadruple down on what he said because they're proving his criticism was 1,000% correct. They will try to cancel anyone who they disagree with. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.